Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hello, today we are joined by Travis J Hanson.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, and yeah, you'll see me painting a page 6. This is actually part 2 of it. And yeah, I had you on probably about a year and a bit ago, eh? Probably a bit more than that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a wee bit. Back then I was less regular with streams. I was doing them maybe once a month, but I did have a little while where I was doing them for a week, for a couple of months or so, and then I kind of dropped off and did a few things here and there. Because what happened is I was doing a challenge, and I wasn't really confident enough to kind of record that and put that on YouTube. So that took a toll on actually doing these YouTubes every week and doing a bit more of that. Um, but then, I've decided that I'd do these every week. The more enjoyable and the fun, and yeah, just I really like bringing this into my routine. Um, yeah, and what have you been up to since the last stream?
Well, I'm currently working on comics for Life of the Party, and I'm finishing off some stuff for my last kick and working on my new Kickstarter, which hopefully will launch in February. I've been doing a lot of game work right now. I'm working on actually 3 games and
Yeah.
a couple of new comics
Hmm.
for people.
Yeah.
It's been pretty a fun adventure.
Awesome. Yeah, work's a bit of a fun adventure. Um, do you find it like challenging with your own like personal work and doing the other work as well?
No, what you have to do is you have to learn how to balance it.
Hmm.
And that's the hard thing. It's really easy to go, I'm going to just focus on one thing and not anything else. And that can get rather unhealthy. So what I usually do is I'll set aside time for my projects in the morning. And then after a couple of hours of working on them, I switch over to client work, and then I work on client work for the rest of the day. Or unless I get inspired and I figure, oh, you know what, I need to work on something and just get it out there. Um, so it's just learning how to balance everything and having the right perspective about it. And eventually, one will eclipse the other to some degree. Like as Life of the Party gets bigger and bigger, I have to set back a little bit on some of the jobs that I work on.
Hmm. Exactly. You don't want to bite off too much. You know.
Well, and it's really easy to do that.
Hmm.
And because as an artist, you find yourself in that position where you are like, do I want to eat?
Hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes you take every job that comes across your table, but then that's not. Then you forget that you are also a job. Your work is a job as well, and you have to treat your work like a job. You can't treat it like, oh, this is my hobby that I'm just trying to put together. It has to be more than that. So,
Exactly. It's. I feel it's hard to explain to some people sometimes. Because some people are like, oh, do you do this as a hobby? And it's like, way more than that. And they're like, oh, okay. um, I mean, 'cause I don't exactly get paid for this. I don't get paid for doing this stuff on YouTube, and um,
hmm
but I've kind of got to do it in a way that's the way I feel that will help me grow. It's
right.
it's the social media of my choice. Um, and it's worked the best for me. I feel that any like the other social medias, like the general like DeviantArt and ArtStation and Facebook is nice, and it's a good way to get my work out there. But then it's just an image to me. It doesn't tell the whole story of how I got there. Um, I like to show my process, share with people, what kind of what my process looks like. So someone could learn from it, and I'm not exactly the that great, really. I don't feel that um, I feel I'm okay,
Well, you're on part of the road, and that's what I
mm,
think we forget. We spend a lot of time focusing solely on well, I'm not that good or whatever, but we forget
mm,
that we're all on the same artistic road. It's just we're all at different points of it. You know,
exactly, yeah,
I did a
mm,
post today, and I talked about 10,000 hours.
mm,
And when you really look at it, well, what is 10,000 hours? And 10,000 hours is if you dedicated 3 hours a day, it's 9 years of work.
mm, yeah,
It's actually manageable and achievable, but we tend to put lots of other distractions in that time frame,
mm,
and then we can say, oh, it's I'm not good or I'm not, but in reality, you're exactly where you need to be at the moment. And
it
then as
yeah,
more effort or more work that you put towards it, you end up getting better and better and better.
exactly. I think what was his name? Jake Parker did one on that. He talked about 10,000 hours, um,
Hmm.
and how yeah, like you said, it shouldn't be so daunting. Like, oh God, it's whole 10,000 hours take me so long to do. Um, and it takes time to build up, and you just do it gradually. You can't be the greatest artist overnight. You've just got to keep growing day after day, and um, that's what I say.
Well, you'll never.
Mm.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't
Keep
interrupt.
going. Just say what you gotta say.
I was going to say you're never going to be the greatest artist
Mm. Yep,
because
exactly. Yep.
there's always someone, and it's usually you, that's better than you.
Yeah, there's all.
And
Yeah.
so I guess what I'm saying, what you're saying is you just got to keep getting up every time you fall down. Keep
Mm.
walking forward when you trip.
Exactly. It's not easy, like some people fall pretty hard, getting
You
upset,
sure do.
yeah, especially some people posting their work and a lot of people just hating on it, and things like that discourage a lot of artists and things. But yeah, you just got to get up and you got to keep working and just improve yourself. Like I said in the other one of my other videos, you got to worry about your own path, what you're doing, rather than anyone else. You know,
I agree with that 100%. You have to keep walking your own path.
mm. And exactly what I was saying before with these videos. I'm not the greatest, but I would look back at them probably in a couple of years' time and be like, oh, I actually did, you know, I did this a few years back, and I compare it to what I'm doing now. I do that, I see, what videos I was doing, what art I was making probably 8 9 months ago, and it's you can see the difference. Back then I was creating, pretty much I was still on the whole kind of drawing what I see kind of a thing, where I was just yeah, just kind of merging things and drawing, and but I was trying to break out of that shell of creating what I see and creating something different, um, some interesting kind of thing. So in the end I decided to do a children's book, and yeah, I feel that's made me draw more interesting things.
Yeah. And how was that book? How did that come out? Are you almost
Um,
done with it, or is it out, or?
no, it's so I'm on page. Well, right now I'm just finishing off page 7, and um, it's about I think it's about a 14-page book. I've settled on 14 pages, and I've worked out the sketches and everything. Now it's just putting them into Photoshop, and then painting them and everything, and then after that doing all the design work for it as well. Um, which is interesting. For your book, that you created, you're the designer as well for it?
Yeah. I
Um,
I do everything.
mm.
I do all the layout. I do all the design work. I do absolutely everything.
Was that like a new thing for you, or was that something you've always been doing?
I've always been doing that. When I first started, it was in pre-press and layout and stuff,
Mm.
years and years and years ago. Um, and so once I learned um, how to do that, it made it really easy to design my own books and do my own things without having to worry about anyone else.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's another skill that you can do yourself, which is awesome. Um, I know I've been to design school, so I've done a few designs here and there, um, and yeah, I'm pretty much design course, but kind of majored in illustration.
hmm
So I've got lots of different skills that I can pick up and use if I need to. Like yeah, what I'll be doing is book design, um, and I try to think about where the text will go with these paintings as well. Um,
right.
which yeah can be important when creating a book or a kid's book or something. Is also thinking about not just the illustration but how the text works with it. Um, yeah, because when you go bring it into the book, then you might have a bit of a challenge trying to work it in, if it's like a full page illustration or if it's going to be um, just kind of there with the text underneath or something like that. Um, you kind of, I feel you kind of limit yourself if you haven't kind of thought about the text and how the text is going to be placed in the image for design work.
Um. Oh, it's like 50-50.
Hmm. Yeah.
For me, when I'm working on a book, I see the whole complete project finished.
Hmm.
I can see it in my head. I mean, there's aspects of it that are grayed out a little bit and a little off here and there, but for the most part, I can, as I'm building it, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. Does that make sense?
Yep. That
Mm.
that makes perfect sense. Yep.
And, and I like being able to, as a designer, um, I like being able to just hold, go, okay, I'm going to want this cover to be heavy, and I want this cover to have these colors to it, and such. And if a project is really in sync, um, I'll tell you, it just flows. There's
Hmm.
nothing I can see it from the very beginning, and it is amazing. Um, and so that's the difference is that I can, if a thing is kind of off, then I miss out. I really can't see it, and it is what it is. But but honestly, I love being able to, when I start a new book or I move forward in a project. Now, with Life of the Party, that's a little differently. That's a daily comic that's just there.
Hmm.
Um, and so it takes a while because I'm just waiting to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting to have enough comics to put in a book.
Yeah.
But I already know how the book's going to look like. I know how the book is going to feel. I know what the book's going to be like.
Hmm.
So that's where that difference is.
Yeah.
And it's just being able to utilize. I look at other books and I go, well, how did they do this, or how did this book made? And I try to go, not so much steal the idea, but mimic it to a degree. I find stuff that I like and I go, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I want to try that.
Yeah, it's always good to see what's out there and kind of get an idea of what you can do or add to your book. So in a way, I feel like even if you do kind of steal something, you always, I feel like someone, or you always add your own personal touch to it in some way, usually.
Well, you have to. You're not stealing it. You have to actually make it yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's different.
Mm.
If I see a design, I'm going to make it mine. I see something that I like and I go, well, how do I build on it to make it my own thing? So I'm not stealing something that belongs to somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to design my own thing and have fun with it my own way and such. And that's that. I just like to play with that. So.
Awesome. So yeah, you launched a few Kickstarters. What were some challenges in doing that?
There's a lot. One is the stress level.
Yep.
You go through this massive stress and overwhelming feeling. Sometimes move forward because it's a constant roller coaster, and if you're not emotionally prepared for that roller coaster, well, you're never emotionally prepared for that roller coaster because you never know how it's going to do. You're literally guessing. Two, one of the biggest challenges is preparation. How do you prepare your audience? Or do you have an audience that you can prepare? Some people just jump into a Kickstarter and imagine that everything's going to go the way they want. And yet, in reality, it's not. It's actually, they've done no preparation. They've done no work. It's just, I expect people to support me, and people don't do that. Or they overpromise, underdeliver. They stop talking. Communication is huge. There's just so many different things that can happen that people get kind of lost. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not prepared for the kick, and it actually does more damage than anything else. And it gives that Kickstarter a bad name. And we don't want that.
No.
So.
Well, I think a lot of people view it as kind of a get-rich scheme,
Yeah, that's dangerous too because it should never be that.
No.
It's what Kickstarter is funding a project so that you can create an inventory to go with it.
Exactly. It just takes a lot of hard work. It's just like another job, It takes a lot of effort, time, and things to actually do a Kickstarter kind of a thing. And yeah, you've got to do it for the right reasons too. I know that, like someone like you launching this book, you're not doing it just to make the money from it. You're actually doing it so you can share your comics a bit more, and do you have any other reasons?
Oh yeah, I have lots of reasons. My biggest reason is I love having a completed thing in my hands. Something that there's no better feeling than holding your own book.
Exactly, yeah.
And going, wow, I put this together. There's also no better feeling of going, you know what? I was able to create enough to sell at shows, so that other people can get it. I like sharing my work with people. And some of those are selfish reasons. It's just I like doing it.
Mm.
I like seeing the finished product, and I like seeing where it can go.
Yeah.
And I don't have any plans on stopping.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I just I love what you can do with it, what the world has to offer. And
Awesome.
so that's really important to me. And then the other thing is it's just where do I go? What's next? What can I do next? And I don't always know. I don't always have a response, because it's always changing.
Mm.
I'm always looking for new things, new adventures. One day I've done a game once, but I really, really want to do a game for Life of the Party, but that won't happen for a year or two
Yeah,
because I want to do it right.
that'd be interesting. Yeah. I I like to kind of do the same thing, expand on ideas and create things from it. Um, yeah, it's just interesting to mix things up. I mean, like bringing this book project into it was like, it was different from what I was doing then. I was just doing like illustrations of learning, creating creatures of things that I wanted to do for clients and things. And I just decided, I really like kids books, and I've created one before, um, and I was like, oh, I'll do another one, and eventually one thing to lead to another, and now I'm like halfway, so there's no stopping me. I'm gonna finish it, which is good.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the best. That's the best way to look at it. Just don't let it stop you.
mm. And I'm not doing it because I feel like I'm gonna make $1 million from creating this book. I'm doing it, just so I can, tell my story in a way. I've got the story to tell for kids to enjoy. And also hopefully one day I've got a daughter of my own now. Um,
They
hopefully,
grow up really fast.
yep, she's
Uh,
about 7 months now. Um,
yeah, my oldest just
so you cut out there for a second.
what?
You cut out there for a second.
I said my oldest just made me a grandpa,
Yeah, awesome.
and yeah, one day you're holding that sweet little baby, and then the next day they're like, whoa, wait a second, you're no longer little,
Yeah, awesome.
and it's good, but man, does you just sit there and you just go, slow down, be that little kid that you used to be. But I do find that my kids were my biggest inspirations.
Hmm.
So you
Awesome.
want to hold on to that.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was saying is, hopefully I can give my books to um, my child in a couple of years or something, and she can just flick through them and read them and, you know, um, yeah, just enjoy it, which will be awesome. Um,
Oh yeah, they'll enjoy your work.
hmm.
And that'll be pretty cool.
um,
So
yeah. One thing I did want to ask is, being a father as well, did you have any challenges with, your work, doing your work as well?
um, well, my kids have always been a part of what we do,
Hmm.
and so I've only had one ever draw on my artwork.
Yeah.
Only one out of the five, and it was the youngest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, so besides that, no, we've done really well,
Hmm.
and uh, um, I think the biggest challenges though is sometimes it's easy to be a workaholic,
Yeah. Definitely.
and you don't want to be the workaholic. You know, because they're only young ones. You will have plenty of time to do your stories, to
Hmm.
create your book, and such. And so you just need to remember that you don't. They will. They grow up so fast
Hmm.
that you won't ever have that chance to have that time again.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm always, doing something with my daughter, Um, I don't always paint and illustrate. And, it is tough because I've also have to work as well. So,
Hmm.
I really have to plan through my schedule. I've got to plan my schedule and deal with her schedule as well, when I can spend time with her and have to look after her and do things like that, all the necessary things like, take her for walks and all those things.
Yeah,
Mm.
we look at this, when I was, you're what? You're in your 20s?
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I was working three jobs,
Yeah.
trying to make this work, feed
Mm.
my family at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, and I found that I drew real late at night at times.
Mm.
But I'll tell you this, don't give up on that dream.
Mm.
Eventually, you will, if you keep focused on it, you will get to where you want to go.
Mm.
Just keep your family first in that priority, and they'll take you with you. You'll take them with you, and that's pretty amazing if you can do that. Or if you're willing to put that time in.
Mm.
And I'm sitting, I sit here now, and I'm almost 50,
Mm. Yeah.
and there's, I look back over the last 20 plus years, and I go, wow, that has been an adventure.
Mm.
An adventure unlike anything I've ever could have ever imagined. Now, are there things that I would do different? Always. But that's living in the past, and I need to move forward and walk forward.
Exactly. You gotta stop worrying too much about like changing the past because you can't. You
Hmm.
can't change it. You can only focus on moving forward and dealing with that and what you can do now. And I do that with goals and things. Like probably a couple of years back, I wasn't that great with goals. And I made goals this year. I made some good goals and resolutions and things to keep me moving forward. And I'm not exactly um, hitting them as much as I like sometimes, but I'm still like, oh well, I can still keep going forward. It's not like, um, it's not like something like going to the gym every day or something. And then the first week I didn't go to the gym. I just still keep it going like the next week or keep going to the gym kind of a thing. Um, if you get what I'm saying. I think you cut out, yeah. I'll redial. But yeah, I made a few goals and resolutions, which was cool.
Oh,
Oh, you're back. Um, yeah, I was just talking a bit about like my goals and things. Like one of them is drawing a sketchbook at every day, because I used to do daily drawings every day. I used to have a 5 minute sketch in my drawing book every day. Um, before I started anything. I just did a 5-10 minute sketch. Sometimes I'll do a little bit more than that. But usually because I was pretty busy as well, I had my coursework to keep up with and um, other things to do as well. So, I didn't have a lot of time to do that daily sketch in the morning. But other days that I didn't have a lot going on, I usually spent 15-20 minutes doing sketches. Um, Oftentimes they were just me kind of drawing what I saw so that I, slowly built up my library of things. And, at the moment I'm doing that, I'm doing it before I go to bed, so just sketch something. I'm not keeping up with it every night, but I do accept that because times I'm really tired from work, and then I do probably um, well, I deal with my child and also painting when I can.
Hmm.
So I'm like knackered by the time 9 o'clock comes. So it's like, oh, I don't feel like sketching tonight, but I accept that. But I still keep it up as much as I can. I don't be like, oh, I didn't keep it up this night. That means I don't have to do it ever again. I'm never gonna achieve it. I just do it the next night, and just keep moving forward with it. Um,
Right.
I mean, I feel like if at least I do it 3 times a week, that's a bit of an achievement for me because, it's on top of everything. It's just me. It's time for me to work on getting better at some of my skills that I lack at, and I'm not working on them at the moment. Hmm.
Well, and that just takes time.
Hmm.
Nothing happens overnight. I don't
Hmm.
remember anybody ever making it under night, in one night. And you're gonna have things hit you all the time,
Yep.
and if to believe that life is not without trials or without other issues, um, that's a fool's
Hmm.
thought process. You've got to look at it like, yeah, I'm going to have trials. Things are not going to go my way. I'm going to struggle, but yet that's part of the whole adventure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, it's your willingness to go. All right, I'm tired. I'm worn out, but I'm going to doodle for 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Or, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's even when you're worn out.
Hmm. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I'm like, I'm really worn out, but I really got to keep this going. So I do, but, there are nights that are more challenging than others. Hmm.
Oh, I agree. Oh, I agree. Especially when your kids are, um, especially when your kids are small.
Yeah,
You
actually.
know, you've got to feel that.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes she's up for a wee bit, so she doesn't get to bed till like nearly 10 o'clock. Um,
Mhm.
and by then it's like, oh, I just got her down. I just want to go to bed, kind of a thing. Um,
Yeah, my
mm,
oldest, who made me a grandpa,
mm,
um, she when she was a baby, she had colic
yeah,
for forever, and I would 11 o'clock at night, and so
yeah. My daughter had colic for a little bit, um, but we got her this new bottle, so it kind of that helped quite a bit.
hmm.
Um, which is good. They've got like so much these days for these things to make it much better. Like, did they have like colic bottles or anything back then?
Right.
Um,
They I didn't hear that last part. What was that?
I was saying if did you guys have like colic bottles or like
No, we have drops.
yeah,
They have drops.
I they still had the drops.
Yeah, and the drops are awesome.
Hmm. Yeah,
We
is it?
love drops.
Hmm. Is it that grape water stuff?
Yeah, I don't know what
Hmm.
it is, but all I know is they were awesome. So,
Awesome. Um, so have you always been quite disciplined with your schedule?
yes and no.
Hmm.
I've had to
Yep.
learn how to be, and that's been the hardest trial. Is how do I be disciplined? How do I create a um, how do I get there? And that's been going. I get up. I do my whatever responsibilities I have with the kids and
Mm.
such, and then I've got to ask myself, what's my next? I've got to. It's easy. You want to go, oh, I can lay down and just rest for a while, or I don't need to work on this. I can work on something else, and that's the danger. Um,
Mm.
you have to go, you know what? This is when I work. And people don't always understand that as well. I have people all the time that sit there and go, hey, you're home. And I have to
Mm.
go, no, I'm not. I'm working.
Yep.
I can't do this. What you want me to do, I can't do.
Mm.
And they'll get, like, well, but you're home. And I said, yeah, and I'm working so I can eat.
Mm.
And I think once you realize why you're in business for yourself, it gets a lot easier for you to go, you know what? As much as I want to do stuff, other things, um, I'd rather, I got to stay focused on what I do.
Mm.
So you kind of have to look at it that way.
It is a tough thing because, not all your friends and people around you do understand, and because, most of them just see the job where you go out to the job and you get paid to do the work. It's
No,
not
this
like,
is different.
yeah, it's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, at the
Um,
end of the day, you're busting everything you can just to find another piece of work.
hmm,
And people don't fully realize that. They only see that it is like, oh, you're home.
hmm,
No, I'm not. You can use me, you can talk to me, we can figure stuff out and such, but I'm not home. I'm not. I can't. There's certain things like for my family, I'm willing to go. You know what? Like with my wife, she goes, I need you to get the kids, or I need you to do this. I can do that, but at the same day, then I just remind them like, okay, if I'm leaving during the day, I have to stay up later at night
hmm.
to do the work.
Exactly. And yeah, I have the same kind of thing. I've got to sort out times of when I can feed and um, change and burp and everything, and when I can work on painting, and when my partner, can also go do what she wants to do, and when I can do what I want to do, kind of a thing. We can, it's a back and forth thing as well with um, families and friends and relationships and things. Gotta keep focused on seeing each other and doing things and things. So I got mates and things that always sometimes are like back in the day where they were always trying to hang out with me all the time, and I'd be like, oh well, I'm actually drawing painting now, and they're like, oh no no come, and it's like, I know I'm actually I'm actually creating something here, maybe another time, kind of
Yeah, and it's
thing.
kind of hard for them to see that.
Mm. Yeah, but I always work out, it's like, oh yeah, another this day then when, I'm less busy, or I've kind of, or maybe after I finish this piece, um, or something like that. Always trying to work out things with people. Um, yeah. Uh,
So there's just a lot of it works.
yeah, it is a challenge, but it's worth going for. You've got to, um, you know, give your all to this. Give your all to art and your work, because it is important. It pays your bills, pays your for your food and your family and everything. Um, so it's important.
Right.
Have you had any interest outside of art that may have helped you grow?
Oh yeah, theater. Um, I danced for years. Um, reading. There's so much. I mean, I get so much of my inspiration from life itself, and I have tons of different interests outside of that. It's just I find myself focusing more and more on art as the older I get. But I love to cook too. Oh,
Mm.
I like experimenting and figuring things out. I love food and what you can do with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually just like cooking too, obviously there are nights that I just kind of put something together or get takeaways or something, but some nights I actually like to create something nice. I eat tofu, which a lot of people don't eat tofu. um, but there's a lot of interesting combinations and things you can do with tofu, um, that you can flavor it quite nicely. And yeah, I love my chicken too, so I like to flavor that with everything, and try new things with it. Like the other day, I'd made a blue cheese sauce for a recipe, um, to do a blue cheese sauce pasta, which is something I've never done before, but I thought it would be a nice idea rather than just plain old um, cheesy pasta. It was quite nice. Hmm.
Right.
So,
I love that.
mm,
I did a stuffed chicken with fettuccine and well, not fettuccine, but a stuffed chicken with cheese and broccoli stuffed, and that was phenomenal. Oh, that was so good.
mm, awesome. It's great for sometimes I might be a bit stressed about my work or I might be a bit tired of painting a lot. So it's good just to go and cook sometimes for tea. It just gets me out of that mindset, and then after tea, usually sometimes I actually feel like painting gets me back into the mood after I've cooked and had a bit of time away from painting. It
Hmm.
gets me back into the mood. Um, it's always challenging for me too, is because sometimes I've got my tablet here and it plays up like sometimes I go have a break or something, and then it's like I come back and I can't use my tablet to paint, so it's like, oh no, I have to restart my computer. And so times like that I usually do just draw my sketchbook or plan something else if something plays up on my computer. um so there's those problems I come up with too. um yeah. any Anything else you would like to talk about or say?
If you got other stuff, I've really enjoyed the chat with you this afternoon or this morning. I don't know what time it is over there.
It's early
Uh,
morning here. Yeah.
it's almost 11 here,
Hmm.
but it's been a I've really enjoyed it. I like talking with you.
Awesome. I'm glad you do. I really appreciate you coming in. It was awesome. I do learn a lot from artists like you, and I really enjoy talking to you too.
Thank you.
Um,
And the other thing I would really just encourage you to do is that little girl of yours, hold on to her for as long as you can.
yeah.
So, it'll be worth it because one day she will be gone.
Hmm.
Not like gone, gone, but they move on with their lives.
She won't be my little girl anymore, basically.
Oh no, no, she'll always be your little girl.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
yeah,
me just put it in perspective, though.
yeah.
You will be with somebody else taking your place to watch over, and as a dad, you get very, very protective.
Hmm.
So just remember that.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. That's been Travis. You can check his work out on DeviantArt, Travis J Hanson. Um,
Yeah,
Also check out your Kickstarters. Guess those are on Kickstarter.
it'll be on Kickstarter, and I won't launch it until February, anyways. So it'll
Awesome.
be it'll be a couple weeks.
Yeah, check out
You can
him.
always follow me on Facebook or Instagram under
Mm.
Travis J Hanson.
Awesome. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.